got off work. I saw a text from Life 360 because my family's on Life 360, and it said my sister was in a wreck. But I have a lot to share this week. My parents called and told me that she was okay, so I was really glad about that. That's the first question I asked. But then they told me she was driving my car. I'm really glad my sister's okay. Thank God I may not have my car again. I would offer carpools and invite people to different things, and that was kind of like one of the forms of ministry that I had while I was on campus. And also, that car has been with me for like 2-3 years now, maybe. And which isn't a long time, but I really got attached to it. I had a lot of memories in that car. I'm just a little upset about losing that car. Long story short, I was considering an extension, but after this week, I'm really not sure. So bear with me because my voice is in and out because I am definitely sick right now. A lot of things have changed this week. This week is really hard. Update on the mural. I was hoping to have the whole time-lapse video ready this week for the vlog, but it's still not done, and I don't want to rush it for the sake of just having the videos, so that'll be next week. So y'all have probably heard about the stereotype of the parties that go on at the DCP. I feel like that's kind of one of those like ones that pervades its reputation, perhaps. I thought I would address that stereotype a little bit. So I sort of went to my first party here this week. It was with my coworkers, and they had this big clique.
And I've talked about that last week, but they decided to kind of have a little send-off party because a lot of people are ending their program right now. I came at a really weird time because a lot of my coworkers are ending their program. So they had a little like grill,
a little cookout by the pool, and don't mind my light, it keeps doing that. I have no clue why it keeps flashing like that. Anyway, I mean, it was fun a little bit. It was fun, I guess. I think there's definitely this appeal of like just getting drunk, but I never really had any interest in that. I just kind of watched some of them go a little crazy, and they all decided to jump into the pool with all their clothes on, so that was a little entertaining. But of course, I'm not really close with any of those people, but it was the first time that all of them saw me outside of work with different clothes on, looking completely different, so that was kind of funny. But I did kind of realize that there are some people in that group that for sure I want to get to know better. That being said, this week at work there was a lot of drama that went down, and I think there's something for sure to be said about leadership and how that makes or breaks your experience. I mean, no matter where you work.
At Disney, of course I can't disclose every single detail, but
my leadership here at my location is known for not being the best. And this week they suspended 13 college program students for something that was not fair, to make an example out of them, because college students, as we know, the CPs, we don't have the same protections as the part-time or full-time working members. Every single other person was a new person at work because all these people were picking up because we were down 13 CPs. But I was trying to make the comparison. I'm like, oh, it's like McCarthyism from history, where it's like, I kid you not, they would bring each of the CPs into the office and ask us, like, did you do this? Do you know anyone who did this? And if we did, then we would be associated and face suspension. And of course, when you're suspended, you may or may not be able to go back to work. You may get terminated. This was for something that basically everyone does at the location. So it's not fair. It's not fair whatsoever. So work has been kind of hard because of that, because I thought I was developing these friendships, these connections, and a familiarity with the whole place, with the whole people. But after this week, it's not so. Like this week, it just got so hard to go to work all of a sudden. And I think it's because I'm not used to putting these hours. I think that's why I'm sick right now, because
I'm not used to these super long work weeks. And that's why before any job I took, it was never this intense. Like I made sure it was only 3 work days a week whenever I was part-time.
With fast food, like it gets so intense. It's just very labor intensive, I would say, because you're moving around, lugging boxes and carts, and having to dump food. I did end up using my first call out this week. Do I regret it? Possibly, because I only get a limited number of those. Another reason why this week was just a bad omen overall. I had a very vivid nightmare that I woke myself up from by yelling out loud. it was that intense. I mean, the nightmare was basically that I was almost about to get raped, and I've never had a nightmare like that before. And like, this is one of the most vivid dreams I've had in a long time, and it was so scary. Like, in the dream, like, I was also losing my voice just like I am in real life, and so I was screaming but nothing was coming out, and so I yelled in real life, and I hope I didn't wake my roommate up. But I looked up the meaning of that, and apparently it's translated as whenever you are feeling powerless in an actual real life situation. I did end up applying for the extension, I think on Wednesday. They're supposed to get back to me by the end of May about whether that's an actual option for me. Of course, auditions being this next week here in like 3 days, we'll see if I get any kind of offer from that, because if I do get an offer from that to be a character performer, then I would really consider that like heavily. I think at this point I'm like more leaning towards the idea of not extending if it means that I have to stay with fast food. But if I do get an offer again to be a character performer, then I think that would definitely be something I'd be more interested in. I did get to go to another one of the resorts this week with my friend. We went to Wilderness Lodge, which was really fun. We ate at their little cafe, which we had a very funny moment. The service did this hilarious thing where anytime someone needed ketchup, then they would have that table yell, "I need ketchup," and then like the other table that had every single one of the ketchup bottles in the entire place, they would all be stacked on this table. These people, whatever party it was, would grab the ketchup and walk the whole like group of ketchups over to this other table that needed it. It was hilarious. So I think that was so fun. Like, I love cast members that make the magic like that, which is a simple thing. I did start giving away shifts for the first time this week. I'm hoping to be able to pick up at different locations, but we'll see how that goes. I am so thankful for my suite mates. They really are godsends. You know, after last night, after I walked in with tears on my face, like, they just comforted me and they gave me hugs and they prayed for me right there. It was just such a comfort to know that God put those people here. It was good for me to sleep on it, and you know, I certainly am still frustrated, but I think this morning it's less despair and more hope. Like, I know God's gonna work through this and provide a way for me to get around when I need it. They say, like, you know, God gives and takes away. And I was telling my parents, I think maybe this is a season of taking away, but it's not for the worse. I think some of these things, it feels right to let them go. It's just a little hard with all these different plans and visions that I had. But I know that he's doing something even greater, and that, you know, I may not see that now, but I'm going to. I totally forgot to add, I actually did end up going to Cowboys this week for the first time. And that was really chaotic, but it was so fun. And it's like 3 times the size of like the dance halls back home. They seriously had a dance for every single song. I kid you not. Like, they had a line dance for every song. I'm like, that's so not like back home where like there's maybe like 5 line dance songs and then the rest are like partner dancing. Anyway, so that was this week. I'll see y'all next week.
I wonder if they do that every morning.